iOS 15 will impact email marketers. In this webinar, Josh and I will explain how you can prepare your business for the big changes. Let's go into who we are. If you don't know me, if you haven't seen my face around, I'm the video content creator for SmartrMail. I operate the SmartrMail YouTube channel. I make heaps of good content about, how to improve your business. I'll be emceeing this webinar. I'm a buffoon. Josh is an expert. I will let him do all the technical stuff and I'll just try my best to keep up. Josh, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Hey everyone, I'm Josh. I'm the head of growth at SmartrMail. So I work across the product, a lot of the changes that you'll be seeing with iOS 15 and the marketing team as well. So yeah, excited to kind of share some tips for this big change that's going to happen. Yeah, so for those of you that haven't used SmartrMail for a while or that are new to SmartrMail, we just thought we'd spend a few minutes on who we are. So SmartrMail is the easiest way to send best practice emails and automations that grow your business. We're integrated with all the major e-com platforms, so Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Neato or Maropost now, and PrestaShop. How SmartrMail started, our two founders started Blue Thumb, which is Australia's largest art gallery, or was at the time online art gallery. Back then, MailChimp was the default for sending emails if you're selling online, but it didn't do a lot of the automations, personalization, and recommendations that a lot of the bigger brands were doing. And the tools that were around at the time, like Amarsis and Nosto, they were very enterprise level. And if you're a small to medium business, you didn't have the time, budget, or skills to use. So that's how SmartrMail came about. We've been going for 5 years. We've got over 10,000 stores using us worldwide. And yeah, we're constantly delivering a product that hopefully makes all those best practice automations and advanced things very easy and gets you more sales.
Cool. So let's talk about what exactly SmartrMail offers. Josh, do you want to talk about that?
So yeah, some of the product offerings we have, again, if you've used SmartrMail, you probably know a lot of this, but if you're new, one of our biggest features are multi-step automations. So you'll have pre-made templates for a lot of the best practice automations like welcome emails, abandoned carts, post-purchase thank yous, win-backs. And we've also started adding some pretty advanced ones as well, like browse abandonments and a reorder trigger. We have a really fast newsletter composer that lets you add products to your newsletter in seconds just by searching, and then it'll come with the image, product description, price, and link without having to do any uploading or copy and pasting. We have a really cool drag and drop pop-up builder that lets you set up multiple pop-ups. So you can have a really nice big bold one for desktop and then a really clean mobile optimized one for mobile. And we have, I think one of the best things about SmartrMail is our support response time. So after this webinar, if you have any questions or you want help setting up anything that we went over today, you can send us a message and you'll probably get a response time within 10 minutes. And it's not just technical help as well, it's strategy help that's really tailored to your store. If you all ask a question after this, it might be a bit longer than 10 minutes, but on average.
Not to mention, we have some great email templates designed by our in-house team.
Yeah.
We'll move on. So what's all the fuss about? Apple is changing the game again. They're reinventing the wheel. Email marketing is changing. Josh, I'll let you explain.
Yeah, so what Apple's doing is they're introducing something called mail privacy protection. So this will do two things. One, it'll hide the IP address when you open an email, so it'll go through a proxy. We use this IP address quite a lot, actually. So in your segmentation right now, you can segment by IP. And with that IP address, we can pinpoint the location of a subscriber, whether it be a city or a country. And yeah, the big thing that really is the difference is that content will be loaded remotely in the background. Yeah, we can get into this, like why this is important next.
Cool.
Yeah, so why that is important is that, it actually makes open rates completely unreliable. Yeah, so how we track opens in SmartrMail is, and any email app actually tracks opens, is we place a little 1 pixel image in an email. And when that's downloaded, we consider that email to be opened. What Apple will do is actually download all the content of an email before on their remote servers, even if you haven't opened it yourself on Apple Mail. So that means rather than us being able to track opens, actually every single email will seem like it's opened, even though it's not, which makes that email tracking data really unreliable and really means you need to kind of change your mindset. And we need to give you some other tools to, best track your email engagement and the effectiveness of your emails. And I guess a few stats too, like this is going to be used in that last screenshot you saw. Like it is opt-in, but the options are to protect mail privacy or don't protect email privacy. I'm not too sure how many people are going to be checking the second one. You can largely expect 99% of Apple users will be using this. Based on the Mailgun survey, they're our email infrastructure provider, so the servers that we send our emails off, they expect to be about 13 to 15% of emails will be affected by this. But we also expect that to grow as well. Generally Apple is a leader in things like privacy, and we could expect email apps like Gmail and stuff to start implementing this in the future. I guess the business case for this for Apple too, not just behind the privacy and branding, is also iCloud storage. So if you have over a certain amount of gigabytes stored in iCloud, you're paying Apple. And now rather than your emails being downloaded only when they're open, all that content, all those images are actually being downloaded beforehand. So rather if you open 10% of your emails, you're all of a sudden opening 100, and Apple can charge you more for iCloud storage, which I'm sure every other app will realize that's a good idea and start doing the same.
Yeah, it's the headphone jack all over again. They've taken away the headphone jack, and now they want to charge me for AirPods, which I bought.
It's a genius idea. Actually, we were wondering how they were going to implement it when they first released it, and then it's pretty it's staring us right in the face. Cool.
Yeah, cool. I feel like I had something to say about this. So I guess, Josh, just to recap there, it'll look, if you're not using SmartrMail, it'll look like you're getting more opens because every email will be opened from now on.
Yeah, exactly.
iOS 15.
So say if you were getting a 15% open rate, or 15 to 20% open rate on iOS 15, like that's all of a sudden going to go 100%. You can that you'll definitely see a change in your open rates. Then I'm not sure what exactly the maths is on that, but it's probably something like a 5 to 10% boost, which isn't very real. And we'll get into that, how we're going to handle that in a few slides.
Sweet. Okay, so this is the slide. How will SmartrMail respond? So we've kind of redesigned the app a little bit to make this as easy as possible and as painless as possible. And I really like the graphics that you guys have introduced. Josh, you want to explain what these two graphics are?
Yeah, so iOS 15 will be rolling out through the end of September, probably like being used throughout October. So we're also waiting on a bit of data that we'll get. But you'll start seeing all these features rolled out throughout October. And you'll also see if these graphics look different to the current SmartrMail UI. We're releasing our new UI at the end of the month. Again, that'll roll out over the course of a few weeks. But the first feature is estimated open rates. So the emails from Apple that are open, we can somewhat tell that it's a fake open. If I open an app on my Gmail app, it's going to show open on a Gmail device, open on the Gmail app on a iPhone 12. But with Apple, it's just going to show unknown for the device and the client. So we can kind of take those out and only look at the opens from certain devices, and then take the open rate from that and extrapolate it across all the unknowns. So we're giving you a true open rate. Again, that's still not going to be 100% reliable, as it really wasn't before too, but so you kind of need something else. And what people generally use an open rate for, because it's not, the percentage of the opens is a bit abstracted from your actual success, which is your sales, but you kind of use it to judge how effective was this email. So what we're going to be releasing is an engagement score. So that's just a score from 1 to 5 based on how your email is performing compared to average. That's the average of your previous campaigns. So if it's 3, then you usually get a 20% open rate. And we'll look at other stats too, like click rate, complaint rate, unsubscribe rate. If it's 3, that's on your average. If it's 4, it's a bit better. 5, amazing. If it's 1 or 2, then yeah, your email is probably not up to par compared to your usual.
Cool. So the star system makes it so much easier than having to go through all your data and try to figure out yourself exactly which users are unengaged. It's just a nice visual to just sort of check it out at a glance. So I think that's a really nice way of doing it. Yeah. So, and I guess it's an average. So will this star system like improve over time the more data SmartrMail has about your email?
Exactly. So yeah, we need to roll this out. We actually need iOS15 to roll out a little bit too, because we can't compare both open rates, like the old open rates, the new ones. So this will roll out probably a month afterwards after it's released. So we get an idea of what those open rates look like. And then we can, kind of display it appropriately.
Cool. We'll move over to subscriber scores. Similar, but I'll let you explain what that is, Josh.
Yeah, so the usual way of cleaning your list now is to use the open data and clean people that maybe haven't opened an email in 6 months. If you've done that before, you've probably done that with Nick on our CS team or someone else. But now if everyone's opened, they could, or seemingly opened, they could look engaged when they're completely not. So then you're going to have to use click data, order data, and a lot of other things, which is a lot harder than just giving you one stat to use. So what we'll do is actually kind of create that rating for you with the subscriber rating. And this will be, again, let's score 1 to 5. And we'll not just look at open data, we'll also look at click and orders. And what this will do, so when you go to clean your list, rather than creating a segment of customers that haven't opened, you can just create a segment instead of customers that maybe have a 1-star or 2-star rating, and then remove them off your list to keep a healthy and engaged email list.
Yeah. And I guess, is this a good time to start talking about email hygiene, Josh?
Well, I think we'll get into that at the end when we kind of get into the next steps of what you guys need to do.
Cool. Sales tracking.
Yeah. So sales tracking is how we track sales. Right now, how us and every email app tracks sales is based on a 5-day window. So if you send and someone opens an email within 5 days, then we attribute that sale to SmartrMail. Of course, now if every single email looks like it's being opened, every single sale is going to look like it's attributed to SmartrMail, which even though it looked like our app is super effective, it's probably not fair. So what we're going to be doing is switching the sales tracking window to 7 days. And then rather than using open data, we'll start using click data. So if an email is clicked and sent within 7 days, then we'll attribute that sale to us. That is pretty much the standard across not the email industry, but the marketing industry. So if you're using Facebook or Instagram ads or Twitter, they usually use the click window for attribution, or they have both, but the standard is a click window, and their window is 7 days. So we'll have that as well. We'll also be introducing a few other controls. So your emails are already UTM tagged with the default UTM tag, like UTM source is SmartrMail, the UTM medium is email, and the UTM campaign is your campaign type and ID. But we'll let you actually edit these too. So if you're using any other analytics tools like Google Attribution or Attribution app, which kind of will let you do a bit more advanced analytics track or attribution tracking, you can have a bit more control over that too. And if you're on Shopify, we already have Shopify last click attribution. So that is, if someone just clicks and then makes a purchase in that session, then we'll attribute that sale to SmartrMail. If you're doing that, all these click attribution methods will probably show a bit less sales than your open tracking. So just be aware of that. It's not like your emails are just going to drop in effectiveness all of a sudden. So look at, again, your click rate data and other sources as well.
Yeah, and I guess that speaks to the theme of this entire iOS 15 update, is that the effectiveness of your campaigns aren't necessarily going to change. You're just going to have to change the metrics on how you measure them, and we'll talk about that because we kind of have talked about that already. But
Yeah.
I also wanted to mention that this is probably a good time to bring up click-through rates aren't affected by this change, so you're still able to see who clicked links through your emails and go to your store. It's just opens that are affected.
Yeah, exactly. So click-throughs, we track with a tracking link. So all your links get a bit transformed. And then once it's clicked, we're able to track that on our servers and then report that. So those will still work as normal.
Cool.
Maybe until iOS 16, but I'm joking. Yeah. No, I don't expect that Apple can change those. Yeah.
No, I hope not. Anyway, so what do you need to do now? What's the thing after this webinar? What do you need to do to get on top of these changes to make sure that you're not caught with your pants down? Start benchmarking your metrics while you still can before these changes come into effect and make everything a little more fuzzy. Josh, do you want to elaborate a little further?
Yeah, like right now, I'm sure of what you think of as a successful email campaign is an open rate. So you probably think, oh, if I send an email and I get a 20% open rate, that's a great email campaign. That open rate data isn't going to be reliable anymore. So go into those past campaigns now that had a 20% open rate and actually look what the click rate was and what your conversion rate was and your sales rate was, and stop thinking in opens and start thinking in clicks. So if I get a 2% click rate, you probably have to change it now to like 0.2 because you're going to look at clicks as a percentage of received rather than a percentage of opens. If I get 0.2% click rate or a 1% click rate, if that's really good, that's a successful campaign. And also look at your conversion rate on your campaign. Like if a campaign has 23 orders, then that's a successful campaign. So you really need to start changing your mindset away from opens because that data is going to be a bit less unreliable.
This is what I was mentioning earlier, sort of. Josh, clean your list while you still can.
Yeah, so cleaning your list is one thing that you should have already been doing, hopefully, for the entire time you've been using SmartrMail. But if not, this is the last time you can do this before you have unreliable data. So if you need help with this, definitely send us a message after this webinar on the in-app chat and say, hey, can you help me set up a segment to clean your list? But generally what you want to do is clean subscribers who have been on your email list for longer than 6 months and have never opened an email. Why you want to do this too is that even though it might seem counterintuitive, like, oh, I should have these people on my list because they might one day open the email and then might make a sale. That is hopeful thinking, but generally, if they haven't opened your email in 6 months and they've been getting it for 6 months, it's probably in their spam folder and not in their inbox. And how Gmail, Apple Mail, and all these ISPs or inboxes treat emails now is very on like a personalized basis. So if someone hasn't opened an email in 6 months and they've been receiving it, they'll just move that into spam, even though other people have been receiving it in their inboxes and opening it. But one important thing to know is that deliverability does work on a whole. So the way I like to think about it is the number of unopened emails that you leave in inboxes, the lower your sending reputation is going to be. So if you keep on sending emails to people that have it going into their spam folder or just aren't opening it, that's going to pile up in inboxes, and Gmail is going to, or Apple Mail is going to see that and say, okay, these people don't want to receive these emails. If anybody new gets added to this email list, I'm going to send it to spam as well. So deleting these emails every 3 to 6 months is going to keep those number of unopened emails low, and showed to Gmail like, hey, most of the people that are receiving these emails actually do open them. So any new people that join the list, I'm going to send it into their inbox rather than their spam folder.
And the psychological benefit of having a subscriber list of people who actually want to receive your emails is that your stats are all better.
Yeah, exactly. And you also pay SmartrMail less. So you might be surprised that we push this so much, but at the end of the day, like, the more successful you are, the more successful we are as well. So
Exactly.
yeah.
Cool. Test your subject lines. So A/B testing. I do the videos, as I said. I sometimes will upload a video and it'll get no views, and then I'll change the thumbnail and the title of the video and it'll suddenly get a heap of views. This is what you should be doing with your email, except it's easier with email because SmartrMail has an A/B testing tool. Josh, I'll let you explain exactly what this is.
Yeah, so if you're on our unlimited plan right now or our old advanced plan, you have the ability to A/B test your subject lines. So how that works is if you are sending, for example, to 1,000 people, you can test 20% of your list. So you can send 100 subject or 100 emails off each subject line to different groups. And then after 3 hours, we'll look at which subject line is opened more in Group A and Group B and send that winning subject line to the remainder of the people on your email list. It's a great way to auto-optimize your emails because if you have two subject line ideas in mind, you're always going to be sending the best one. But yeah, a lot of people haven't done this in the past and they haven't been constantly doing it and doing it as a science. So this subject line data this open data is only going to be really we're still going to have the feature, but it'll only be really reliable for the next 2 months. So what you should do now, we'll actually make this available on all plans probably till the end of October, but you should start testing your subject lines. So test different variations. There doesn't need to be two totally different subject lines, but see what subject lines perform better if it's maybe emojis in the email or your discounts in the email or exclamation marks, different small variations, and figure out what works best with your audience. You usually be quite surprised. Like sometimes with some audiences, putting like 20% off in will work really well, but actually for other audiences, making it kind of mysterious and shorter and more witty might work better. So it really depends on your list and what you're selling, but you should be testing this now, regardless of your plan. By the end of this week, we'll have it available on all plans. And yeah, there's a lot of great resources as well. I think Stuart has a video on YouTube about A/B test or subject lines in general. And then there's heaps of content on the blog for all different holidays and different types of emails. Yeah, the content there is really amazing. So you can probably just search subject lines in the blog and there'll be 10 plus articles that you can use to start optimizing.
Yeah, Aaron has a whole list of good subject lines to use for Easter and Black Friday and stuff like that. While we're on the subject, I just want to say that A/B testing is like a super great learning tool as well. It's such an easy way to figure out what works for your audience, what Josh was saying. But it's such a good way to just sort of get a sense of like how marketing works in general and which kind of phrases and how you structure a subject line. You can really see the difference between like small changes. And I think it's just if you're not doing it already, I encourage you to do it straight after this because you'll learn so much seeing which subject lines engage with your audience and which don't. Yeah, definitely do it. Get ahead of that. Okay, so next up is sunset automations. I love sunset automations. Whenever I receive one in my email, I'm so grateful because it means that I don't have to click the unsubscribe button. They're just going to do it for me. Josh, I'll let you explain exactly what they are.
Yeah, so like we mentioned before, most of the time, like cleaning your email list, you'll be using open data. That open data after the end of October is really going to be useless. So what you want to do is set up a sunset automation. So what a sunset automation will do is it'll entice your subscribers or really prompt them to click a button to say, hey, I still want to receive your emails. It's going to be we don't need to create a special button. This is an example from Litmus, which is an email provider, but you can probably find great examples online as well. But all it needs to say is, hey, it doesn't look like you probably subscribed to hundreds of emails and we haven't seen you in a while. Do you still want to receive our emails? They can click a button. You can just create a really simple landing page on your site that just says, hey, yeah, thanks for letting us know. And what this will do, that click will be registered in SmartrMail. So then they won't be in your segment that you'll eventually clean, which might be people who've been on your email list for over 6 months. They haven't ordered in 6 months, and they haven't clicked an email in 6 months. So maybe this email sends at 5 months, and so they're not in that segment at 6 months. And then, yeah, you have an email that was quite effective. What you can also do, if you want, on some other campaigns, you can just put this block in at the bottom with a button saying, hey, do you still want to receive our emails, or do you like what we're seeing? So you can put that in your win-back automations, or even in your newsletters too, just to, if people maybe don't like a certain product or what you're selling at that point in time, maybe they're waiting for Black Friday or Christmas when they usually shop, you can have a little button at the bottom that says, hey, do you still like receiving these emails? So that even if they don't want to buy right now, they can just engage with that.
Josh, I wish every business had sunset automations. I feel like I've been getting emails from so many companies that I haven't unsubscribed to for years, and they just won't stop unless I ask them to. I just wish they would take the hints.
Yeah. It is. It just like, I'm probably sure we have a lot of automation guides and blogs as well that we probably forget to write this one, because it is one that's really, we always have had open data. So we always recommended people just use that. But now with that data becoming unreliable, you really need to start setting these up. So we'll probably update a lot of our old blogs as well. And I guess, again, what the theory behind this is, if you keep using that open data, all those people that are on Apple Mail will look like they're unengaged, but they actually won't be opening your emails, and all those unopened emails will just pile up on Apple Mail, and Apple Mail will say, hey, 50% of your people who are seeing this email never engage with this. Nobody wants to receive this. We're just going to send it to spam. So yeah, doing this and setting and cleaning your list with a sunset automation will keep a healthy, engaged subscriber base on Apple Mail.
It's all about email hygiene. So let's wrap it up. Let's sort of recap what we've just talked about. Josh, I guess I'll let you recap it.
Yeah. So just those last 4 points. So you should do these things right now. If you need any help, just reach out to our success team. You can just send a message, and they're more than happy to help you, especially with cleaning your list or setting up a sunset automation. We probably won't do the design for you, but we can set up the segment and the automation for you based on your store. So again, benchmark your metrics, stop thinking in open, start thinking in clicks and sales, clean your email list using that open data while you have it. So I really suggest you should do that this week. Then we'll release our A/B testing subject lines on all plans. If you're already on one of the larger plans, do it now, start using it now. If not, we'll release the message at the end of this week that it's live. And then, set up a sunset automation. So again, if you need help with this, let us know. It should be a bit tailored to your store. So we'll go into, I guess, the Q&A now.
Q&A. Does anyone have any questions that we can answer? Or that we can't answer?
So there's a Q&A little thing on Zoom. Let me see. I don't think there's any questions yet, but if you ask a question in the Q&A panel, then we will get it and we can answer, and we'll read it out and answer for everyone.
Here we go.
Okay, I've got one here. It's not in the Q&A, but from Shaw. If I've set pop-ups to appear once a month for a user, would they keep seeing it every time from iOS devices? No, the iOS mail tracking thing is only work on like the IP address for when the open data. It won't affect any of that. They'll keep seeing that as usual. That works on cookies. First party cookies, which are cookies that we like a user, or how do I explain it? You as the user places on your site yourself. Those will keep working. So that won't be affected. How does IP blocking affect browser abandonment emails? Again, the IP blocking only works on the open tracking data. So when an email is opened, we get an IP address from that event, and we can place a location on that. It wouldn't affect browser abandonment emails at all.
It's strictly email.
What do I do if I haven't been sending for 6 months yet? So yeah, I guess if you haven't been sending for 6 months, you can probably still clean your email list if you've been selling for longer than that. So for example, we see a lot of stores maybe have been selling for 2 or 3 years and they're just starting email now. There's probably people on your email list that purchased 3 years ago. And then you've been sending for 2 to 3 months and they haven't opened. To be honest, they've probably forgotten that they purchased from your store or forgot where they got that item from if you haven't been keeping engaged with them. So I'd still clean those people now. Probably just use a different rule, like people who haven't, or customers that haven't purchased in over 2 years and haven't opened emails in however long you've been sending. And and then after that, set up a sunset automation for the rest of them because your list probably won't be that big. Cool. There's one here. I need help with setting up my emails to send to my customers from Schneider. Schneider, please reach out through our chat bubble, or you can email support@smartrmail.com. Our support team is really, really great. So you should get a response really quickly, and we can help you set up any of these automations or really anything in SmartMail that we chatted about today. From Andrew, sorry, have you touched on what is smart sending? Smart sending. I don't think we have. Smart send frequency. Okay. Smart send frequency. That this feature is that actually doesn't use open data. Smart send frequency is a feature we have that if you someone receives an email within 24 hours or whatever period you set, if you send another email, it'll block them from receiving that. That I would actually probably not. That's a feature that we're actually probably sunsetting at the end of this year. So while it has been effective for some people, I'd probably, now that we have a much better automations tool where you can have a lot more control over splits and the number of automations and how your sequences actually behave, that feature is kind of unneeded now. So we probably that's there, but I probably wouldn't recommend using it. If you have a certain use case, reach out to us. And we can help you implement something with our new automations tool. We released that last year, so some people haven't really fully set up or adjusted their automations to use it. Great. Thanks everyone for joining. This recording or the webinar will be recorded, so we'll share it with everyone after. We'll also have a lot more content on iOS 15 come out as we go. So yes, I'm sure Stuart will have more videos, and you can
for sure
keep an eye on our blog for more info. And let us know what you think of these features as they roll out. If you like. Schneider said, what's our email for support? It's just support@smartrmail.com, or there's a little chat bubble in the app. If you have any of these things that we said to do now, please go message our support team. Nick's online right now and ready to help you. So thanks everyone.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Andrew, for the nice comment. I'm sure I'll have a video going into more detail later in the month. Thanks again for watching and tuning in. I guess we'll end it there, Josh.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool. So bye everyone.